Alrighty. Guys, we have a huge treat today. We are going to be talking with Linden, Boston Marathon champion, multi-time Olympian. And I see she's already popped in here. This is great. I've got to figure out how to get her inside our room. Those are very exciting words to be speaking. Hey, Des, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm not bad. Looks like you were somewhere sunny.
Yeah, we're in Southern California. I'm here with Josh. Let's see. There he
What's
is.
up?
What's up,
There's the
Josh?
man.
Good to see you, man.
Man
We've
himself.
been working some
Awesome.
today, and now we're unwinding, but chatting with you. So this is good.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so stoked to talk to you. I don't know if you remember this, but we actually met back at Falmouth Road Race, like, I don't know, maybe 2 summers ago, walking out with Josh. I just remember being in this like very, very cramped pub and you were doing some meet and greet. And then we were like being ushered out through the kitchen and
Oh,
then like walking down this busy road. But anyways,
yeah,
that's my Desolate story.
that was the Sam Adams. It was like a contest thing, and then we were leaving from
It
that.
was
But
very
yeah, that
crowded.
was a good spot.
Yeah.
It's a great spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I kind of want to dive into it here. We're very grateful for your time, very excited that you're part of the Chaski Challenge event here. And in general, helping support Brave Like Gabe as well. So really, I wanted to dive into a little bit about this year for you. I mean, you're someone who's kind of become renowned for her tenacity, mental toughness. And I guess a lot of people this year have probably struggled with that in some sense or another, whether it's their own motivation, just dealing with this year, the different trials and tribulations that have come with it. So tell us a little bit about kind of what this year's been like for you. I know you finished fourth at the marathon trials back in February, and what's it been like since then? Have you done any racing? What was on your schedule, and how have you adjusted?
Yeah, it's been so unusual, and I think obviously everyone's kind of gone through the same thing. What's great about our sport is we share the same roads, we share the same emotions and feelings about running. And I've been up and down this entire year. Obviously, finishing fourth at the trials was a tough place to start the year. And I
Yeah.
figured eyes on Boston, and you go, okay, like this is where I redeem myself, or this is where we just like go and do the next thing and start looking forward. And that gets wiped away, and it seemed really short term up at front, and so we were like, okay, maybe trials, and we're kind of putting these things in place. And then just seeing and watching how things were unfolding, it was like, as a 36-year-old, we got to make some different decisions here. And if Boston isn't going to happen this year, what's the next most important thing, and how do we want to attack like these next couple of years? And so it allowed me to take a step back and really evaluate what I want out of the sport and my career. And I think it's a really great time for that. It's like diving into like why you got started and what you want to achieve. Is that all predicated on results, or is it process and really figuring that out? So I took a big break and just I'm slowly building back, but also starting to think long term again, which is something I haven't done in a while, because you're kind of, when you're in your mid to late 30s, you go like, is there really a long term? But I try to find the value in this time. Like, let's get excited for when the next big race is and be ready for that. So that's kind of the approach I've taken. But there's no right answer. I think that's what's crazy about this is like you don't have, okay, like this is the pandemic playbook, pull it out, let's see what did the other people do. We're all kind of like going by the seat of our pants here. And so it to me it's like whatever gets you out the door each day, go for it. And if you don't have that thing, hit pause and like do other things in your life, and then when it starts calling again, and go out the door and get fit and start chasing after it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what other kinds of things have you been doing? Like, where has that been calling you this year?
Yeah, so I took a month completely off from running, which was hard, but I was like, I'm going to read all the books that I haven't like been dialing into, and then slowly built back up. I got on the gravel bike a little bit more, so I was riding a bike a bit. Let's see what else. Getting on trails a little bit more, and then this is kind of funny, but my dog is super fit. We have a little Boston golden retriever Boston, and we've been getting him out and running with him every day. So like his excitement's like, okay, we got to take the dog running, and he goes for about 8 to 10 miles a day, and he's really
Whoa.
fit. So we're like, we can't let him down. So it's been all over the board, but it's just, to me, it's like, what's fun? You know, it's not, there's not a race at the end for me. I don't have anything dialed in, but like, what's fun? And so it's been
Yeah.
kind of all over the place.
So in that kind of longer term thinking, have like how far are you thinking ahead right now? I mean, obviously the track trials got pushed to 2021. Is that on your radar? Are you thinking, man, I was fourth, that's still pretty good. I might expand all the way to 2024. Like, have you kind of had those conversations with yourself yet, or like where are you in that process?
Yeah, I think right after Boston was canceled or pushed down, anyways, to September, I was like, all right, track trials, let's go. Like, I can get on the track, try to make a team. Like, that was the thing. You know, when you're fourth, you're pretty hungry for that team. And then
Yeah.
I started getting ready for it, and just like my body does not quite take to the speed stuff the same as it used to. And it was going well, but I would like get dinged up here and there. And then when we hit that reset, just to get healthy and like kind of eye long term, it was like, all right, well, let's put 24 out there and then work back from there. Like, what does that look like? And if it holds up, like, let's give ourselves a chance, because fourth isn't really that bad. And we're seeing these people run fantastic into their late 30s. You see Meb, you see Abdi, you know, Dina ran fantastic
Yep.
running under 230 in the Masters. And it's like, well, why not me? And maybe you're still in that conversation. So that's sort of the attack now, which is a lot different from where I was in January, February, March, where it was like, let's just do all the marathons until I break.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably somewhere where having, I guess, like at least 9 months where you're probably not going to race a marathon. You've been so consistently running marathons every year that it's probably almost a silver lining to you. And I
Yeah.
guess that kind of leads into a secondary question there, which is this year, you, especially since 2018 when you won Boston this year, we've seen you all over the place. You're traveling all the time. You're doing all these media appearances. Like, how you seem like someone whose life has probably changed a lot by the pandemic just because of how much we've seen you traveling and stuff. So have there been any kind of silver linings to that in your mind in terms of just like having a little bit more of a life?
It's I hate to be the person who's like, this is sort of awesome, but as a person who like loves to be at home, and I'm a homebody, and that's how I train the best, that's where I'm the happiest. Like, this has been kind of a nice year. I mean, I love to have work to do, and going to events is fantastic, and meeting people and the whole thing. But you know, I think professional runners, you're not like toiling away in the mountains and logging all these miles and in, you know, just by yourself thinking about breaking the tape so that you can be thrust in front of hundreds of people and tell your story. It's like, I like the solitude and being by myself. And I've been able to do that a little bit again. And it's been a good break, but I'm also like kind of getting the itch where I'm like, let's go on a trip. Let's hang out with some people. And these social media things are really fun to do. But I'm so ready for it to kind of get back into normal. When we get there, I'll be the first person like, all right, sign me up. Let's go.
That's awesome. Um, so one question that I have, which I kind of want to dive into a little bit, like obviously, you won Boston in 2018. That's like the thing that's always going to be in front of your name. Uh-oh, seems like we lost you for a sec. You back? Uh-oh. Give her one sec here, fellas.
I think
Hey,
anytime you have a major setback and then you come back and like reinsert yourself in the conversation, or become a competitor again, and like when all the chips are stacked against you and you do all the right things and you set yourself up and then you deliver and you have success when everything's saying no, you have no chance. Like those to me are my favorite races. And you know, coming off the 2012 Olympics, which were just so disappointing, in working for 4 years and making that team again in 16. It's probably silly for most people, but literally just to cross the finish line in Rio was probably one of the most memorable moments of my career. And it meant a lot to me. And I think it meant a lot to the support team around me, like the people who really care about you and get how hard that was and invested in your comeback and your return. Like crossing that finish line, they go like, "Oh, we did this. This is cool." And so anytime you have a moment like that, that's super special. And it's easy when it's all clicking, right? Those races are great, but you expect it.
Yeah.
It's when you come back from something difficult that you go, "Okay, this is special."
Yeah, absolutely. I think those, to me, are the most important races, are the ones where you really feel like you overcame some personal challenge, whether it's an injury or just, like you said, I've been working so long for this thing for or excuse me, so hard for this thing for so long, and then it finally manifests itself. And, you know, even if it doesn't come away with like, okay, I won the race or I got that huge flashy PR, I think sometimes to us as the athletes, those are the ones that mean the most. And so I always just find it interesting to ask that question, especially when someone has that one huge accolade like you, where it's like, okay, Boston Marathon champion, but then like, is that really the thing that you know, if you're going to retire, like that's the thing that I'm super proud of? Or is it like, oh no, it's actually like this, you know, making that 2016 Rio team and finishing, you know, I think you were seventh there, whatever it was, you know?
That's a tough one. I mean, they're both very, very special in different ways.
Um, yeah, of course. Um, I wanted to touch. This was a question that came submitted. We wanted to ask about your kind of mantras, like these one-liners that you've put out. So one that we heard a lot about leading up to and after Boston, keep showing up, and then afterwards you talked about swing away. So this is something that I've definitely channeled myself, to keep showing up, like just being consistent, coming out year after year, race after race, even if things seem to be plateauing or not going well, and you know, eventually you just hit that really perfect pitch. But tell us about kind of how that shift happened from keep showing up to swing away. Was that just because like, okay, I've got that Boston win and now I can really feel free to take risks? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean that was huge. You know, I think for so long it was any type of victory in a marathon was eluding me, and I had never won, and so you had kind of like you could never really. What's that going to look like financially, really? So on and so forth. So a lot of moving parts there. So I was always in the conversation and consistent, but you never really like tried to swing away and get that big victory. It was just, all right, like, you know, this goal you've been chasing forever, check the box, and it's like, it's everything else from here is gravy. So what have you been wanting to do? Like, what is exciting to you? You know, I think that was always a big question. Like, when you have that moment and you accomplish what you've been dreaming of for so long, how do you get back out the door? And to me, swing away was
Hmm.
like now you don't have anything holding you back. Run exactly how you want, whether it's, you know, just from here or a little bit here and here, or you know, it's different. You play it completely different. So it was very fun to have that coming off of Boston.
Yeah, and I always wonder, because I feel this a little bit when I sometimes, if you hit that really big goal, is there almost like a sense of like anticlimax after that where you're like, okay, now what? And like it seems like you turned that around and turned it into this like, okay, I could totally change the way that I attitudinally approach these races. But did you have any period there where you're like, I don't know what to do with myself now? Like I did it. I did the biggest thing in the sport. Like now what?
Josh is giving me a grin behind the camera. He's holding the camera. No, man, we were just like, this is the best thing ever. Let's like take it all in. And I think one mistake that we can make often is like you evaluate performances or you go like, okay, I want to do the next big thing. Like if you get a gold medal, it's like, all right, like now
Yep.
what? And you find the next big goal. Um, we honestly just took time to celebrate it because it's not a given and there's, there's no guarantee you're even going to get out for that next marathon, right? So
Yep.
we were able to celebrate it and have so much fun with it. And then it was really exciting to kind of change things up after that. And, obviously I'm working with a different coach from after that and just shook things up. And it was like, let's make it exciting. That's always been what has gotten me out the door and, made racing interesting to me. It's like, let's find something new and a new way to approach this. So I was really thrilled with all of it. There was never any lull, to be honest.
That's good. No, I feel like a lot of like runners are so goal driven sometimes and we're like can be so neurotic that you like almost forget to enjoy the moment when things go really well. And you're like, all right, that was good. Now it's like, okay, you made the Olympic team. Now I've got to earn a medal. Or it's like I made nationals in college and now you've got to be all American or something. And it's like there's always that next goal in mind. And I mean, yeah, it sounds like you did it the right way for sure. But I think it's always interesting to hear that from people. Um, okay, and you've touched actually on this a little bit because you mentioned kind of like doing some trail stuff. So we at Chaski have very deep roots in the mountain ultra trail world, and I think I listened to you. Maybe it was on like the Let's Run podcast or something, mentioning that you might get into the trail running, ultra running world at some point. But like, is that on your radar at all? Maybe like after your competitive marathon career is over? I know you're trying a lot of new things now, so I just want to get that seed planted and see if we'll see you on the trails at some point.
Yeah, no, I think kind of the theme of all of this has been like, hey, make sure it's fun, right? Make sure that you're excited about it and getting out the door for the next big thing. And trail and ultra are definitely, I wouldn't even say in the back of my mind. They're heavy on the mind right now. Just a new challenge. And I think sometimes, we can compare ourselves to what we've done in the past. And when you start getting kind of creeping up in age, it's like, well, this isn't very fun anymore to compare myself to 23-year-old me. Like, I'm never going to outperform that. So let's go somewhere where we don't really know. And like I have maturity and strength and experience. And I just think it really, the trail in the ultra world really will suit me. But also it's not a given, you have to respect the distance in these events. And I love that sort of unknown too. So all of it's like definitely on the front of my mind. And I think it'll happen mixed in with the road career sooner rather than later. And hopefully, races start happening soon so we can get out there and tackle some stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. And I mean, I know coming from the ultra world myself now, like there's always discussion about like, oh, if a truly world-class marathoner just like hopped in a road 50K, what could they run? So I'm like in their prime, because like a lot of people will after they're, retired, and will come back and do 50K or, do comrades like Salazar did or something. But I think it would be so cool to see someone like you. I mean, your Boston race almost, I think I heard you say at some point it kind of ran more like a 30 miler or something. And, you were out there for 240 or something, 240 something. It's like you're not that far off from a 50K at that point. So yeah, it'd be super cool to see you do something like that. And, obviously with your marathon speed, there's no reason to think that you couldn't be super competitive at that. But like, I guess where do you get the most excited when you think about that? Is it something like, yeah, I just want to step up and do a 50K because I can kind of do that off of marathon training, or are you like, oh, I really want to go full bore and do some like 100-mile trail race or something like that?
We're gonna have to ease into it. I mean, to me, like the comrades thing. I think that the up year and the down year, I'd love to tackle both of those. And UTMB is probably like the higher end for me. but maybe working in 50K and moving up. I think
Wow.
I've always been like, there's no way. Like, when I was in college, I was like, no way I'm doing a 10K. That's too far. Got out of college, like, no way I'm doing. It's like never. That's insane. So that's probably where I'm headed. You know.
All right. Wow. That's something, but I can't wait. I'm psyched. Okay. Last, just quick, kind of like one-shot questions here. These came from some of our fans who submitted them. One, you have famously been a whiskey connoisseur. What is currently your favorite whiskey that you're drinking?
Um, from Justin Grunwald sent me a bottle called Blood Oath. It's really nice bourbon soaked in, I think, rum barrels. Really incredible. And obviously, it was as a gesture for saying thanks to contributing to Brave Like Gabe. So it has a special place in my heart, and it's delicious too. So that's it right now.
That's awesome. Um, in terms of like tech and data stuff, is there any one specific tool that you really find critical to your running, whether it's a GPS watch, heart rate monitor, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm addicted to my Koros. I should show you my tan line from it because it hasn't been off like except to charge, which is not very often. So GPS is fantastic. Just having pace on the run to know like, am I going too hard on easy days, or am I going too slow on easy days, and just kind of getting all that data. There's so much to this watch. That's my go-to for sure.
Awesome. Your favorite running weather?
Oh, I mean fall, crisp, clean, cool air. Maybe 40s in the morning, and then it warms up in the afternoon. Everyone wanted me to say rainy and windy.
I know. I was waiting for that, like 38 degrees and raining. No. Um, okay, and then last question is about your dog. So, did the name Boston come before or after your Boston victory?
It came before, and Ryan and our trainer, he's a hunting dog, the trainer picked it. They're like, oh, this would be a great name for him. And then they told me about it. And truthfully, for a little while, I thought I was allergic to him. I was like, oh my God,
Oh
I'm
no.
allergic to Boston. Like, this is such a good figure, right? And then it all came together, and then I won Boston. So it worked out fine. And I'm not allergic to him, so
Wow.
it's good.
Wow. Awesome. Well, it sounds like everything works out seamlessly there.
We have our up and downs.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time, Des. It's been awesome. Thank you so much, both to you and Josh. Reminder to everybody listening, we do have our Chaski Challenge race on September 12th, and you can bid to race on a team with Des. That's at chaski.run/auction. Every dollar raised there goes directly to Brave Like Gabe, which is our rare cancer research partner. That is a 100% tax-deductible donation. So you can check that out. You can also register. All of our races are totally free. So check that out. All the links are in our profile and everything. But thank you so much, Des. Thanks. We'll be looking forward to connecting with everybody else. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see you next weekend for the Chaski Challenge. Bye-bye.